Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Thank you for coming by the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel from the heart of the Deep South on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama, where we talk about music, records, live record reviews on this channel, as well as interviews. I appreciate you guys subscribing and giving the thumbs up and hanging out and sharing your thoughts in the comments section. Now, if you missed the video before this one that was released on Thursday, I did an interview with Emma Ravitch, a wonderful jazz composer and saxophone player, and we talked a little bit about this album Chroma. So if you missed that interview, go back and check that out and definitely give this album a listen. I think it's fantastic. She's a fantastic composer and a great saxophone player, and very young and still in the beginning of her career. So I think a lot of great things to come, but this is a fantastic album, so go check it out, Chroma. All right, today I'm going to be doing the Atlantic 75th review of this album, Purple, by the Stone Temple Pilots. This album came out in 1994. Of course, the first one, Core, came out in 92. That was a big album, sold 18 million albums in the US and 40 worldwide. This one was 6-time platinum and did sell over 6 million copies. This is the second album, recorded at a few different places. I'll get into that. But a couple of big hits on here, including Vaseline and Interstate Love Song, and Big Empty was also, I think, a fairly popular tune. But I'm going to be opening this up, and we're going to be listening to this together. I do not have another copy to do a head-to-head review like I did on the Foreigner 4. So if you missed that review of Foreigner 4, I did a comparison of this to the OG first pressing. Go check that out. And this definitely sounds very good. So now going back to the Stone Temple Pilots, of course, I did a review on this one. So if you missed that, go check that out. Of course, this is a fantastic record. It sounds fantastic. I was very surprised when I listened to it, how warm it sounded for this type of a record. So I'm expecting to hear the same on this second one. So I was pretty impressed, as I have been with all of these Atlantic 75th pressings. And I think, some people are, talking it's $60. These are 45 RPM records. Is it worth it? And so far, I would say that if these are some of your favorite records, it's worth it, because these are, I think, in most cases, the definitive releases of these particular albums on this Atlantic Acoustic Sound 75th 45 RPM releases. These are, I would say, most of them are the definitive releases. And so this, I don't remember owning this. Maybe I had it on CD years ago. And again, when I talk about 90s rock music, during the time that this stuff came out, while I did listen to some of it, I was just really big into Clapton, in the blues, Robert Johnson, Skip James. I was into all that stuff in the 90s, and I really did not gravitate towards a lot of the 90s rock. So it's kind of nice for me to be able to go back and kind of get refreshed with some of these titles that, even though I know some songs off of, I really just wasn't like real into. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and we're going to drop the needle on this together. You're going to get my reaction, and I'll tell you how I think it sounds. I'm going to be listening to this on the Fluence RT85 with the Ortophon Blue cartridge and stylus, and it goes into a Shitmoney preamp, and it's going into Yamaha HS8 speakers. And when I do these reviews, everything is set the same, the volumes are the same, and I get a pretty transparent sound through these Yamaha HS8s. So these are pretty, the sound that comes through them is not being colored by the speakers like you would in a lot of different setups. Yes, it's a mid-fi turntable, nothing to write home about. It's a $500 turntable, the Fluence RT85. That's a $150 preamp, and then it goes into these Yamaha HS8s, which are not cheap speakers. So I think it's a nice, something that everybody can relate to. I'm not listening, this setup that I have is something that most people would be able to afford to go out and buy, and something that would be a respectable listen to have in your house, to listen to records. It's not going to destroy your records. It's going to give you a pretty good listening experience. And so that's what I do all the reviews on. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that. Okay, here we are opening this up. Let's crack it open. Pretty cool here. Again, these covers are just so thick. These are just so nice. The thickness, the quality of these. So again, you're paying $60. You're getting 2 records. They are 45 RPM. You know, and it's not just the cost of the record. I know a lot of people think, you know, well, it's $60. How much did it cost Acoustic Sounds to make this? Maybe it cost them $15 to make this. I'm guessing. Okay, let's just say it cost them $15 to make this. And they sell it for $60. And you're like, wow, man, that's a big profit. Well, you know, at face value, it kind of sounds like a big profit, but when you break it down at the end of the day, the mastering engineer that had to get, you know, the analog tapes and the time that it took to the labor and everything else that went into making these, that it's, even though it's physically may cost you $15 to have made, it's more than that in labor and other things that went into making the record. So just pointing that out. So here we go. I'm going to clean this off. We're going to listen to the first 2 songs, Meat Plow and then Vaseline. And then I'll flip it over on the other side. We'll listen to Interstate Love Song, since those are the hits. And then I'll play 1 tune off of the second record. So let me clean this off. We'll listen to it together. And I'll let you know how I think this sounds. Like I said, the first release, I think, sounded very good. I was very surprised at how warm the record sounded, you know, based on the type of record that it is, with the distorted guitars and all that kind of stuff. I thought that Scott Weiland's vocal sounded very good off the first record. So we're going to see how this one sounds. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think of this album. Is this one of your favorite albums? If it is, again, you know, this might be another one you want to pick up. We'll see how it sounds here. But I have not really been disappointed so far with any of these Atlantic 75th Acoustic Sounds 45 RPM releases. Okay, so let's drop this on and have a listen. Tight spindle hole. Of course, all these are 45 RPM. Let's see how. Okay. So far, it's, again, surprisingly warm for those thick guitars and the way that this is recorded. The sound, that heavy sound, it does have, it's, you know, not harsh to your ears. I like the way his vocals sound. guitars sound really good, the lead with that. If I had any criticism, and again, it's kind of the grunge sound of the time, is that I think that the drums are a bit buried, you know. And of course, you've got all these distorted guitars, and so it's definitely that kind of grunge sound. It's a flat record, sounds quiet so far. They're looking at it, it may have a very, very tiny slight warp to it. I can see maybe just a little bit. So far, it sounds good. You might hear a little bit of surface noise there in between the tracks. So here we got Vaseline here. Recorded at 3 different studios. So I think it sounds pretty good for this type of 90s grunge music, type heavy rock music. Personally, having listened to this now a couple of times, I think this is a better sounding record so far. Just personally, the way it was mixed and how it sounded with the vocals and stuff, I think sounded a little bit better. Personally, just personal opinion there. Definitely hear the detail, you know, guitars. Mastered by Ryan K. Smith at Sterling Sound and pressed at QRP, of course. Bob Ludwig did the original mastering. So I'm going to flip this over. We're going to have a listen to Interstate Love Song. And then I'll play a tune off the other record so that I'll have tested both records out there. I think, you know, those of you that are big fans of this album, I think you're not going to be disappointed. I think it sounds very good. I just think the album itself doesn't sound thus far as good as the first one, but let's take a listen to this tune. So you got a little bit of different sound here than some of the others. really nice. So, again, it sounds really good, surprisingly good for this type of music, in my opinion, because to me, the grunge, heavy 90s rock always sounded kind of muddy to me. That's just how it sounds. And, but this does have a surprisingly warm sound to it. I think I do prefer the sound of the first record to this one, but this one does sound nice. His vocals sound really good, and the guitars are surprisingly warm. I just don't think it's quite up to the standard of the first record, but that's just my opinion. I think if this is one of your favorite records, you're gonna like it. I'm gonna play Silver Gun Superman, and then maybe we'll let it play into Big Empty and close out the review. Leave your comments. Let me know where this ranks up on your STP list as far as records go, and if this is one that you're thinking about picking up on this. I definitely recommend the first album for sure. I really was surprised at that, but this one is definitely sounds really nice for this kind of music. Perfectly flat record. Coming up next, Shotgun Willie. I'll be opening this up, dropping the needle on this. Stone Temple Pilots, they started the band in 1989 in San Diego, California. Of course, you got Scott Weiland on vocals, the two brothers, Dean and Robert DeLeo, Dean plays guitar, Robert on bass and backing vocals, Eric Kretz on drums. So again, this is their second album. It's got the Chinese letter on here, which is a Chinese letter, a Z, and which is supposed to mean, I guess, purple, the name of the album. So just a little bit there about the record. Again, this was sold 6 million compared to the 40 million the first album sold. So this was obviously much more of a successful album. So again, I was very impressed with this. So if you didn't pick this one up and you're a big STP fan, this is fantastic to have on the 45 RPM. If you're a fan of this album, I don't think you're going to be disappointed with this either. It's amazing how the guitar sound just and again, you're not going to get a nicer cover than these. I mean, these are just, look how thick these are. Just the quality there. As far as, you know, this kind of music, it just never was my favorite. It always had that muddy sound to it, but this really does, I think, give you a new listening experience. And I owned the first album on CD and had it, you know, when it first came out. This one I don't really remember owning, so I can't really say that I remember how this particular album sounded. But in comparison to the first record, I think the first one sounds a little bit better, but I don't think anybody's going to be disappointed with this either. So it's nice to actually go back and get reacquainted with these albums, you know, go back and really listen to them where I'm not that familiar with this all the way through as an album. So that's another thing I like about this Atlantic 75th series, is there's so many different things going on in the series, different genres. That Chad decided to do some of this modern releases, but yet you got your classic rock stuff like Bad Company and Foreigner, and you've got a couple of country titles, you've got R&B, you've even got jazz titles. So for those of you looking to build a nice quality collection, there's a lot to choose from the Atlantic 75, especially if you don't already own the albums already at OG pressings. But again, all the ones that I've compared, that I've owned the OG pressing on, that I've done a comparison to, the Atlantic 75 has beat them all, and some by leaps and bounds, some by smaller margins, but it always sounds better. So you're not going to go wrong. And I think what I'll do is I'll do a maybe a live stream, and I'll go through all the Atlantic 75 titles that have come out so far, and I'll talk about them and do a live stream and schedule it so that you guys can come on, give your opinions on what are your favorites that have been released so far, because I think we're probably about a year or so into this series, so I have to go count and see how many have already come out. But I think that'd be a great video, kind of a recap of all the Atlantic 75, 45 RPM releases. So I think I'll do that here coming up maybe next week for you guys.
Driving faster in my car, falling farther from just what we are. Smoke a cigarette and lie.
So here we got Big Empty. Let's see how this, a little bit different kind of dynamic to it.
Falling faster in my car. Time to take her home, her easy head is contemplated. Time to take a ride and leave.
way this sounds. There's a little bit of space in there. You can really hear the depth more than having that whole wall of guitars. And this, to me, sounds very nice here. This was recorded at a May 25th, 1993 session, and I think it was the only at the record plant. So this is recorded at a different place than the rest of the album was recorded, which was recorded at Southern Tracks.
Time to catch a ride, it leaves today. Her name is what it means. Too much walking, she won't think. Time to take her home, her daisy hair.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
Time to take her ride, it leaves today. No conversation. Time to take her home, her daisy hair. It's got you scared. Time to wait too long.
Vocal sound wonderful. See, I think so far this is the best sounding track out of all the ones we've just listened to, because there's room for things. It's got some dynamics to it. You can hear more depth because you don't have the guitars drowning everything out. So I like, you can hear the bass, the drums, you hear all the folks, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you guys. I really do, hanging out with me, giving the thumbs up, sharing the videos, leaving your comments. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Fantastic outing again, I think, for Chad and the guys. Ryan K. Smith, fantastic job at mastering this. So I'm digging it. I really think that track there really has more, you hear more going on because of the dynamics. You have the softer parts, and then you have the, you know, the guitars and the different dynamics going on in the track. So pretty cool album so far. If you're an STP fan, this might be one you want to add to your collection. Coming up, Shotgun Willie, we're going country next, so stay tuned for that. Happy listening.